Welcome everybody to Audi's 2021 Q5. This is their compact crossover that I'm sure you know very well and you see almost every single day on the road. This is an incredibly important vehicle for the brand, and for the 2021 year it's gone through its midlife update, so nothing really too serious to point out, but we have got a brand new face, slightly revised rear end, different bumpers, but the most important thing, the thing that you're going to notice most as a consumer or a buyer, is the new 10.1-inch touchscreen that's come from the larger Audi flagships, and the new system that's been put in place of the A4 and the A5 when they were updated for the 2020 model year. So it's been quite some time since I've driven a Q5, so we're going to talk about that later, but for now let's hop inside and quickly talk about some of the other changes that came for the 2021 model year, and at the end of this video I'll place this vehicle in my ranking system to tell you where I think it ranks against other compact premium crossovers. Many thanks have to go off to Glenmore Audi that have made this video possible. All of their information is linked down below. If you want to test drive this exact vehicle or any of the other Q5s that they have in stock right now, head over to their dealership. But a couple other things to quickly mention: with the headlights and the taillights, they have been updated to have that animated effect whenever you turn on or turn off the car, or whenever you're indicating. It's a fun thing to observe and play with and show off to many of your friends. And when you look at the revisions to the face and the bumper, I had a brief moment of hope that they would actually update the Q5 to have real tailpipes back there. And for a second I thought I was granted that, but no, they're still fake exhaust outlets back there. The real pipes point down out towards the ground and not through the actual body of the car. To me it's really annoying and unfortunate, but I really think it isn't going away anytime soon. Other things that have come with the 2021 model year include a 13 horsepower boost to the 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's the only engine you can get right now with the standard Q5, so it produces 261 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. Now that extra boost of power is just the engine alone, but Audi has added in its mild hybrid technology to this Q5 for the first time. It's a 12-volt system, so not quite as meaty or as powerful as the 48-volt system that comes with their larger 3-litre V6 engines. I'll go into more in depth when we're driving this vehicle as to what that means for this particular vehicle. There will be a 2021 Sportback Q5, so going up against directly with the BMW X4, the Mercedes GLC Coupe. Audi's main rivals are selling them very well, so might as well get into the pool and splash about with them as well. So that should be coming along in the very near future. Just like when the 2020 A4 and A5 are updated with the new screen from Audi's flagship, this Q5 follows the exact same path, but it does seem as though with this one that I'm testing out in particular, it has a new main screen where it shows you your music, your phone, and your maps all on one screen right away. So maybe that's a new software update that's going to come to all of the other models, or this Q5 specifically. I'm not quite sure. I'll leave a text down below once I get an answer from the Audi dealership. But Apple CarPlay is wireless, as it is purely touchscreen now. You got rid of the rotary wheel setup that was right down here, so that means that you have a nice little cubby if you need to throw your wallet somewhere. In the top trim Technic that I'm testing out, there's a lot of great features in here. We've got heated and cooled cup holders, heated front seats, heating steering wheel, heated rear outboard seats, customizable ambient lighting, quite a few driver safety systems, 360-degree camera setup, and an excellent Bang & Olufsen sound system. I'm usually a little on the fence with the Bang & Olufsen systems. Sometimes they just don't feel as good as what they could be, but in this model I don't know what's different. It packs more of a punch than I've experienced in most other Bang & Olufsen equipped cars. So that's something to note. Alright, I think that's everything I need to mention. Let's get on the road and show you what this Audi is like to drive. Starting with the mild hybrid system and the small power boost to this Q5, I don't think it's going to be a stark difference from anybody that's going to get out from the old one into the new one, but there's certainly a couple things that I have noticed. So with any of these mild hybrid systems, the major claim of the benefit that they're going to bring to you is a second generation of what is a stop-start system. So when you're coming to a stop, but not at complete zero, the engine will shut off. Audi claims that the number is 22 kilometers an hour, where you can just coast on electric power. Now, what that means is when you're coming to a stop, like I'm doing right now, the engine is off. But when I go and hit the accelerator to get away, it reacts in a faster fashion than what a traditional stop-start system would. Just like the larger 48-volt systems, this Q5 has the regenerative braking system that's so slight I can't notice it, but with the regenerative brakes, it's putting a little bit of electricity back into a tiny little lithium-ion battery pack, which is what provides the electricity needed to operate that starter generator motor. Now, I don't think this 12-volt system is as sophisticated or as powerful as the 48-volt system that I've tried out in multiple 3-liter V6 Audis. It isn't quite as imperceptible as what I found the 48-volt system, but it's still doing its job. In addition of having that electric starter motor and generator, it gives you a little bit of extra forward momentum where the engine isn't as capable as it needs to be. So for example, anytime that you're shifting in between the 7-speed dual clutch, just that millisecond of cut power is where that electric motor will be helping you out, and a little lower down in the rev range where the turbocharger hasn't quite engaged yet. This all leads to a 4-cylinder compact SUV that does feel reasonably quick, but the driving dynamics of this Q5 aren't the most rewarding or enjoyable. So for example, when you're driving in the regular driving modes, let's exclude dynamic for the sake of argument here, the steering is really light and honestly kind of lifeless. It is a massive steering wheel, so for highway speeds or this constant speed back road that I'm on right now, there's a lot of movement you have to put into the wheel for something to happen. Getting into dynamic mode really solves that problem, but if you don't want to be in dynamic mode all the time, you are given an individual mode where you can change the throttle alertness, change about the weighting of the steering. So for me, driving about in the individual mode with the heavier steering seems like it's a better concentrated experience. That's how I'd like to drive this Q5. Now on the higher trims of the Q5, you can option up for an active dampening system and an air suspension system. This car doesn't have either of those features. So what I've experienced is that with this relatively short wheelbase Audi is that it does get fairly busy over rough roads. And just to note, the Technic would come with 19-inch rims, but last minute the dealership switched over the 17-inch rims with winter tires, so I could test out this vehicle for today's purposes. And with its short wheelbase, plus with the somewhat light steering, is why this car feels a little bit too eager for an Audi. It doesn't quite fit the relaxed and refined driving experience of what you would experience with a lot of their larger vehicles. Now, I mentioned driving refinement being a little bit lacking in this Q5, but where it is more than making up for it is just how well isolated this thing is on the highway, driving about day to day. Almost no perceptible road noise, wind noise is very well kept, and it makes this Q5 a very easy vehicle to drive long distances without interruption. For taller drivers like me, I'm 6'4", and taking advantage of the little thigh extension that you have at the base of the seat is fantastic. For someone my height, it doesn't go all the way out, but just those extra couple inches of support really helps out long-term driving comfort. The storage room up front is actually pretty good. You've got huge door pockets, so I can put my massive water bottle down there. The Q5 is no exception to Audi's being an incredibly well put together product, and even though there's some harder plastics in the door cards that you don't really want to expect, but that's just the reality of this class of car these days. Even though they're on the cheaper side of things, they don't feel cheap, and I don't feel like I'm lacking in the overall premium experience. There's a little bit of shiny black plastic in the Q5. Mostly you're going to see this large section right beside my right knee that, yes, is getting fingerprints on it, scratched up a little bit, dusty. Rear seat comfort in the Q5 definitely isn't best in class. It is tighter for me as a 6'4" individual to sit behind myself, even though I'm sure I could do it if I had to. The seats fold down and recline at 60/40, but with the middle seats, you can fold it down to become a ski pass-through. That is an incredibly attractive feature to a car like this that's meant to be fulfilling all of your lifestyle choices, and I'm sure skiing is going to be one of them if you live in this part of the world. The rear glass doesn't go all the way down, which is always annoying. And with the panoramic roof above, if you're shorter, it feels like a very open and cozy space. Quickly looking at the trunk, if you fold up the false floor, you'll see that you do have a spare wheel, the ability to fold the seats down with some pulleys back there. So with the updated 2021 Audi Q5, it is a very functional, very versatile compact crossover. It's not really inspiring much passion or a desire to really connect with it. It's just a vehicle that's getting the job done very effectively and very efficiently. So saying all that, let's now park up and put this vehicle in my ranking system. So that concludes everything I have to say about the 2021 Q5. Very much an appliance rather than something that really inspires much time behind the wheel, but that is really no problem for most consumers in this segment. So that's why I think this car thoroughly deserves its consider owning ranking. If you're going to cross shop between many other vehicles, it's going to be really hard to determine which one you like or don't like unless you spend a lot of time behind the wheel and really give each and every one of its competitors a chance. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video. Please like the video if you liked it, share it if you think other people will like it too, and of course, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, that does the world for me. Thanks again. Hope to see you on the channel soon.